Welcome to Real Talk with Gatekeeper Press, where we explore the human experience through storytelling, creativity, publishing, and personal transformation. Today's guest is Dhayana Alejandrina, a Dominican poet, author, creative writing mentor, strategist, and the founder of the Creative Writing Hour. Diana is the author of Agridulce, Poetry and Prose, and Creative Stillness, a collective anthology exploring identity, healing, culture, and the transformative power of creativity. Her work has been featured in the Los Angeles Times, Wheel Grow Latina, and other publications dedicated to amplifying diverse voices. We're especially honored to have her here with us today as Creative Stillness was selected as a recipient of the Gatekeeper Press 2026 Publishing Journeys Grant, helping bring this beautiful collection into the hands of readers everywhere. Diana, welcome to Real Talk with Gatekeeper Press.
Thank you so much, Reese. Excited to be here, spending time with you and with the fam. Ready to get right into it.
Thank you. You're a two-time published author with Gatekeeper Press now. We're going to talk a little bit about you before we dive into all your amazing accomplishments. With our first segment, let's get really real. Ready?
Let's do it. Yes.
Coffee, tea, or something else entirely?
Definitely coffee. Got to start with the coffee.
What's one creative habit that has had the biggest impact on your life and why?
Creative habit. I think that I really enjoy, as of right now, I think it's more like mostly reason, but like actually making bouquets of flowers and arranging them in ways that are like pleasing to how I feel or like how the house is feeling. It's pretty relaxing, so I have to go with that one.
Are you someone who finds inspiration in silence or chaos?
Chaos. You gotta listen, it's not about being toxic, but something about the pressure, something about, just feeling like there's so much going on. The words just keep on coming, keep on coming. So, there's obviously beauty in stillness, and we'll get right into it later, but chaos kind of inspires me quicker.
I would have to say that chaos is very transformative because, power without structure is just chaos. But when there's structure, there's transformation.
Absolutely.
And I think that's how a lot of creatives can relate to that.
I love that approach.
All right. What's a book, poem, or piece of art that's changed your life?
It will always be, as of right now, the autobiography of my mother by Jamaica Kincaid is definitely one of my favorite books. Wonderful writer. Please go read it. Then you'll understand my fascination with her talented self.
All right. I'm going to get into that one. If you could spend a day with any writer, living or dead, who would it be?
Sonia Sanchez. I need to know all the in and outs of how she approaches her poetry. And then I would just love to be sitting there while she's writing a poem. Yeah, just like being her presence. She's a wonderful writer, wonderful poet. So yeah, Sonia.
Love that. What's something people are always surprised to learn about you?
I think one of the things will be that one is that I lived in Japan for 4 years. And I will say that people do be surprised that I didn't speak a word of English when I moved to the United States, just because of maybe the lack of heavy accent. But then I'm like, start talking and I'm like, yeah, the accent is pretty much there. So yeah, I think those two things are kind of surprising to some people.
What's one word that describes where you are in your life right now?
Honestly, I'm in this process of unearthing. I'm truly just unearthing so much. And I feel like it's in preparation to replant. So unearthing.
When do you feel most like yourself?
Thinking of a lot of things, but if I have to go for it, the first thing that popped in my head is honestly when I'm like by myself and I can just like sing however I like, dance however I like, do whatever weird thing without people looking at me or, not that I really care, but honestly, like alone time really makes me feel like I can just be in whatever way, form, or shape.
What was your dream job when you were 10 years old?
When I was little, I used to think that I was going to be a stripper. Yeah, please don't quote me on this. Don't put it anywhere. I did not know what it was. And obviously I just dancing. So then I grew up and I was, hit with the truth. Still pretty artsy, pretty sexy. I love it. But yeah, I did not become that. Didn't go down that path.
What does creative stillness mean to you in one sentence?
Creative stillness in one sentence. Permission to exist with the complexities of the self and life. Permission. Yeah, maybe. It's packed, that sentence, but yeah.
So like, how can we unpack that a little bit?
I feel like we don't allow ourselves to not that we don't, we have to then put into perspective our lives, the chaos of it, the stillness of it, the faces of it, the people in it. But we must admit that, this society that we live in is pretty chaotic, but also pretty urgent. The urgency of doing things, of being things, of becoming things. And I think that there needs to be a balance and a permission to become and not to become. You have to be able to have that discernment of knowing, am I just becoming because other people are becoming and I'm in a rush of being that thing? Or can I sit with not becoming right now because I am in a rush of understanding who I am, and where I am in my life. So there's that dance between becoming and not becoming, which I also have sat with actually in the past couple of weeks. So yeah, that's what I mean. More like there's an action behind being, and there's also an action behind not being, because you're choosing to sit with a different transformation that is a more silent transformation, a more still transformation, while you have other types of transformations that require more of that action. And we see that in that creative stillness.
I feel that. I feel like as creatives, one thing that I think that has helped me tremendously is just relinquishing control in everything.
For sure.
That makes the transformation even more powerful, and you're more gentle with yourself and the outcome, which is great.
Exactly. We're able to be better listeners.
Right. All right. We're moving on to segment number 2, a deeper look. Now that we understand Dhayana a little bit, I want to talk about your amazing accomplishments, inspirations, and let's get into it.
Let's do it.
All right. For those meeting you for the first time, who is Dhayana beyond the titles, accomplishments, and the creative work?
Dhayana is this just gummy bear hearted girl, sensitive girl, easy crier. I cried at everything. Probably cry most days in my car listening to music or just being. She's funny. I love to crack jokes when I'm nervous, when I'm comfortable, when I'm feeling all types of ways. And honestly, she's an adventure. Like, I daydream of traveling to places, meeting people. I love to experience different cultures, different foods. Yeah, a softie, truly. I love people. Maybe I'm a little naive at times. Just a gentle human being trying to understand herself in the world.
I think the soft boy, soft girl era is totally in right now because a lot of people are truly looking inward. And I think that's a beautiful thing. I hope you never lose that.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Was there a specific moment or realization that inspired the creation of the creative writing hour and eventually creative stillness? Looking back, what did that experience teach you about trusting an idea before you knew where it would lead you?
Yeah, I think that briefly, I guess, the idea of the creative writing hour just came from understanding that I felt pretty lonely writing by myself, and that I wonder, of course, how other people were feeling being out there seeking community, because there's always that need for community, but I had to really sit with what really does that mean to me. If I was to come to a space, how do I want to come to this space? How do I want to be received? And so even though there are millions of communities out there for writers that they can join, I still went and took the leap of faith of creating the creative writing hour with the values and the mission that I would love to be a part of, and putting first and foremost the humanness of our experience as creatives and as writers and the struggles and challenges that come with that. So took that leap of faith. Within a year, we had over 100 members. And from there, truly, after being, given this beautiful opportunity with the grant, creative stillness just has always been part of my terminology. And I will talk about it more and more. And it just also, that you supported me and heard me talk about it many times. Which is a blessing, but it just all made sense. It made sense to bring it back to the community. It made sense to sit with it in this particular part of my life and to run with the idea of what that would look like, to incorporate it with our mission and vision and give the writers an opportunity to ponder on what creative stillness, means to them.
So for listeners for the first time, I just want to dive deep into this question because it is a great one.
Yeah.
Tell us about exactly what it is, the creative writing hour.
Really?
Let's start there. And then obviously during the creative writing hour, creative stillness was born. So that's something I want to talk about too.
Yeah. So the Creative Writing Hour is a online co-working space for writers and creatives from all over the United States and also internationally. With that, we do have members who are overseas, and we meet twice a week, Thursday nights and Sunday afternoons. And it's just a space for us to come and gather, work on our manuscripts, our poems, our scripts, our songs, whatever it is that you truly want to work on your blogs. And we give each other feedback. We talk about our processes, what's working, what's not working. And it's truly just an environment for us to feel safe enough with what that means to us, in this time in our lives. So that is the Creative Writing Hour.
I wanted to give
Yeah.
listeners a chance to fully
Yeah,
understand. And then if you want to do a
absolutely.
shout out, where can they join the Creative Writing Hour?
Absolutely. So we have an Instagram and it's literally the Creative Writing Hour. And we have all our information there with a link to go to the website and see all of the beautiful members and learn more about our mission and vision. And it's super easy to join. We also have like an application attached to the link too.
Beautiful. All right, moving on to question number 3. Creative Stillness, your anthology, explores identity, grief, joy, healing, and artistic devotion. Why were these themes important to include in this collection?
Oof. Well, starting with the first one, and may you repeat it so I go in a little bit of an order.
Yeah,
just
of
to
course. The first
refresh
one
it.
was, Creative Stillness explores identity, grief, and joy, right?
Identity. So we know that I feel like we're often dying within ourselves, right? Every time that we grow, we're dying. There's different versions of ourselves that we're letting go of. And that identity is transformative, but it can also be a source of confusion, of stagnation, and of release. So
Right.
writing about ourselves is really important. Writing about the impact of our traditions, our cultures, our families that have a direct voice in what we do was really important for me. And also in the way of capturing what we want others to know about who we are and our families, capturing the essence, the traditions. So not necessarily just about the identity, but how people have impacted who we are in our lives, positively or negatively. Grief, of course, there's joy and grief in life all the time. And I think it was important to honor that, allow people to talk about the hard, the raw, and not just the pretty and the loving all the time. Because we often hide that. It's pretty difficult to find a space to discuss these topics. So, what does that grief look like? How do you sit with that grief? And how does that grief present itself within your writing? And then, of course, we have like our writing and, the devotion that we have to this practice, which is a love and hate relationship. Like people ask me, do you read every day? Do you write every day? And I'm like, no, I don't. I don't read every day and I don't write every day. It could be a week or two until I actually sit with journaling. So really sitting with that relationship is really important in order to understand whether we're seeking validation from the outside world in our practice or what does that really mean? Does it come from somebody else in our lineage? So yeah, all of these themes really spoke to me and to the writers, but also to what creative stillness really means.
I love how so much of Creative Stillness was really a partnership with all the writers. They got to choose, and
Really,
it feels like
they
this is
really
really
did.
awesome. The anthology moves through 4 sections: the weaving, the centering, the offering, and the surrendering. Can you walk us through that journey and what each stage represents?
The weaving. So I always have to say all of these different stages, and I'll probably just combine the answer, but all of these different themes were truly a collaborative effort between me and Sabrina, which she was also the editor helping me at the very beginnings of this project. And we start with, the weaving just puts into perspective like who we are with the impact of others in our lives and our family members and our traditions. We have, an essay by Steph that's about like the tea tradition within her Japanese side of her culture. And yeah, it just brings you in slowly and lets you know, hey, we're not self-made. There's so many people in different parts of our lives that, make us who we are. And then from there, we have the offering and the centering and the offering kind of go hand in hand because the centering is the rooted parts of yourself, who you are, how you unfolding, who you are becoming, but who you are becoming in your practices or in your relationships. The surrendering, obviously, it's like, whew, you got to let go of the control of certain dreams, of certain people, certain expectations. And yeah, ultimately, all of these different themes do have a dance with each other. And it was very important for us to be able to put it together in a way that made the narrative strong, relatable, and honest. And yeah, they all weave together beautifully.
Honestly, it feels like life stages. It kind of reminds me,
Yeah.
like from when you're first born to the very end.
You know what? That is a beautiful observation because the last session of the book I actually have an essay that's called "At the Edge of the Well," and it touches on how I almost, died when I was younger, about like 11 or 10 years old, and that transformation. So you're right on with that comment. That's pretty good.
Do you think creativity is something we do or something we return to? And what practice helps you reconnect to it when life gets noisy?
Mm. Definitely something that we return to. I always return to thinking about childhood. I recently went to a retreat hosted by one of my dear friends, Katrina, Self Girl, Self Life Retreat. And I was teaching a workshop there, and it was, about our childhood. And just pull up, childhood photos, let's reconnect. And honestly, it is something to go back to because we become so hardened through life sometimes, so structured that we just don't think about the things we used to do when we were little, just going outside, touch grass, hug a tree, I don't know, dance, don't worry about who's looking or who says what. So I think some of those practices for me, I love doing one thing by myself a month that I've never done without waiting for somebody to do it with me. Just going through the emotions of excitement, of like nervousness, and just like meeting people along the way. So yeah, I have a jar that I have been adding new ideas of what to do every month. And that keeps me going, happy, joyful, curious, and creative.
In a culture that celebrates constant productivity, what has stillness taught you about creating meaningful work instead of simply producing more?
I always go back to referencing trees, just like how, you look outside and it may be the fall and all the leaves are falling and you think that, or the tree is dying, but you don't see what's happening within. And I think, in a society that is constantly waiting for people to give, to give, to give, that really put into perspective what it means to pour and to be patient with myself. Because not every single step ahead is going to be that evident. And it's also not going to be that evident to somebody else. I can know that I am doing the hard work by, being still or by asking myself the hard questions, but they might not see it. So I think understanding truly your path and being intentional and honest about it without comparing it to other people, which is easier said than done, definitely is the first step for me and which has like truly helped me. Nature really does help too, I'm not gonna lie. Just seeing how nature moves through different phases of life inspire me to think outside the box before I seek somebody else's acknowledgement or approval or answers.
Basically, not conforming to the demand and
No.
honoring the process.
Yeah. Because you have to ask yourself why. Why? Not a lot of people ask that. Why? Why am I rushing?
That's
Why am I
true.
doing this? Why is this
Right.
person telling me like not a lot of people like to do that because they don't want to be canceled. They don't want to be pushed aside. They don't want to be casted out. And we do live in that society where, oh, you don't have Instagram? That's so weird. Oh, you don't do this? That's so weird. You know what I mean? Like there's just
Yeah.
so many things that will easily just get you disconnected from others and allow your why to shift. Like ask yourself periodically why is something that I tell my mentees, and I do always start with asking them why. Why is this project important to you? Why do you want to publish? Because not everybody might like it. Somebody might give you a really bad review. And so what? You're just going to take the book away? You're not going to promote it anymore. So definitely check in with your why.
Creative stillness brought together many voices around a shared vision. What have you learned about building a creative community, and why do you believe community is essential for writers today?
It is essential because we are not self made. We are, I don't know, the barista that makes us our favorite coffee, the lady cleaning the apartment, the person selling you your fruits and I don't know, all the things that you need. Like we are all part of each other. And so it is important to understand that we are not built by ourselves. We did not come to earth by ourselves. And there is so much power in understanding the true connectivity that we have to each other's souls and and purpose. So we can't just walk around the world thinking that we can do it all by ourselves. So that is what community means to me. And that's what they have taught me. Like every time I am learning something new through all of these writers, something new about myself too, or a fear that I have not voiced that they're voicing. And I'm like, wow, like that is very true. I'm so proud of you and I'm so proud of me for realizing it. And so yeah, it's just like a constant transformation and a level of awareness that we wouldn't have unless we have people around us to put that into perspective.
It's beautiful. Reconnecting our oneness is always great. What was one of the most meaningful lessons you learned while creating and publishing this anthology?
I mean, I'm going to have to throw it back to the question you just, asked me, that it would have not been what it is without my community, without my friends that said, what do you need? How we can help? I would have probably been like, oh yeah, no. 26 writers handling all by myself. That is one of the most pivotal parts of it, is that I could have not done it without their true support and the vision, not just because of me, is because they believe in it. They loved it too. They were like, yeah, this is going to be successful. This is beautiful. That was one of the biggest lessons, meaning like I was telling myself, I can't do this. Oh, this is too much. I don't know how I'm going to go through this particular phase. But also, I think that when it comes to the organization of it and the learning of it as a creative strategist and as a mentor and as a, founder of the Creative Writing Hour, it's like you have to be committed to the work. The work is not going to make itself easy, and the work isn't going to grow you as well. So how open are you to fail and to pick the pieces back up and to do it the right way, and have the patience and the love. So I thought that was like very transformative for me as well.
The way the Creative Writing Hour rallied behind creative stillness with every post, comments, reshare on social media was truly inspiring and really honed in on the power of community for me. I was witnessing it firsthand. I'm like, this is why I tell people so much, when you incorporate or share with your community of what you're doing and they cheer you on in your accomplishments, or they feel like they're a part of the process, they're more likely to champion your story and tell
For
others
sure.
about it and support you, instead
Yeah.
of just telling people to read or buy my book. I
Yeah,
think
I
that's why
know.
community is essential. It's truly
Really is.
important.
They're so amazing.
If readers can take away one message from creative stillness, what do you hope stays with them long after they've turned the final page?
It's a hard one. There's so many things running through my mind. Man, I really just want people, and then I'm just speaking from like also where I feel right now in my life. But when I think of this collection, when I think of all 26 voices, some of which were just being published for the first time, that were brave enough to put stories and poems there that are very personal, I think is how brave we are as human beings to feel and to exist and to fail and to experience heartbreak and to still move forward. I think is so commendable. I think that is so brilliant of us. I think that I want people to not be afraid of the many parts of themselves that make them who they are, instead of casting parts out and being so shameful and guiltful and harsh towards these parts. I want them to really reconnect with all of the parts of themselves within this book that they can find and say, oh man, I'm such a beautiful human being, when I'm not faulty and or ugly or this or that. And I'm allowed to sit with these different emotions and process them whatever way possible. And I hope they feel loved and seen. I really do. And not just as a way of, love and be seen, but like really truly, what does that mean to you? And and how can they embody that in their everyday life? So it's deep, but yeah.
Yeah. So just truly accepting yourself and loving yourself. One thing though that this whole conversation kind of has inspired me a little bit was how even though we sit with ourselves and we begin to learn and love ourselves, right? Community holds that accountability.
Mhm.
Community holds that support in a way. People around us are always our mirrors, right? They reflect not what we want, but who we are. And
Mm.
I think that's where community and presence like really has and holds you accountable to either succeed or fail or get back up,
Oof.
right?
That is so deep, so true.
Last question on a
Mm.
deeper look. Writing the book is only half the journey. What
Mhm.
advice would you give authors about building meaningful relationships with readers long after their books are published?
You know, like you mentioned, it is easy to just publish the book and say, "Ta-da! Here it is. Go read." I would love to say, bring them through the journey of it, through their nervousness of it, through the hesitation of a chapter, through the tug of war with the cover. Give them something that makes them also feel like they're right there with you. Sit with your voice, like we're saying. Like, how do you connect with your voice? How can you continue to be transparent and honest within your writing? Because that is also what they're looking for. When I read X, Y, and Z works, do I feel their voice? Do I hear them, not somebody that they're inspired by? And so building that connection before the book drops, but also after by just including them into like the activities or asking questions. Or if you notice somebody that's like someone that
Yeah.
is genuinely supporting you from the beginning, like a few people, why not just send them a free copy of the book? Why not just say, thank you so much? You've always been so supportive. I don't know you in person, but I want to send you this book. Maybe you can share with somebody that you love. Like, let's step out of, the comfort zone and really receive people and talk to people that we see are obviously enjoying our work because it is a gift. So doing things like that, I definitely, recommend out of the goodness of your heart, just go out there and yeah, show love to the people that show you love too.
I've written many blogs on this and I've shared them with the Gatekeeper Press family too. Is bring people along your publishing journey and they
Mm,
will champion your stories after publication. Because when we feel like we belong, where we can give something to someone, and then, whether it was an advice on a color scheme or a
exactly.
character development, right? It's like you feel like you're also a part of that
You
story of
are.
that book being published. So it's just like, it's beautiful to see it, manifested in physical form, and then you feel like a little bit of you is in that. So I
Hmm.
think that's great advice.
Yeah, people need to do that more often for sure. And make it fun. You can do a giveaway, a game online or Substack. Make it fun.
Well, that closes our second segment, a deeper look. We are moving on to your truth, our last segment.
Let's
Three
do it.
questions where you leave us with your final transmissions.
Let's do it.
If someone listening has been waiting for the right time to begin creating, what would you tell them?
I will ask them, what is the right time? Why is the right time? And what makes you feel like now will be a bad time? You know, so much of our lives, we keep waiting for the perfect time. When I'm ready, when I have the degree, when I have the certification, when I meet the person, when I have the time. And it's like some of those things are not going to come unless you take that very first step. And then many other doors come, then many other people come your way. So you have to just start. And it's something we hear all the time. But starting could be just that 10 minutes a day writing. That's it. Successful. Wonderful. Don't overthink it. Yeah. Just a gentle start. It's enough.
When I was writing this question, I found myself answering it.
Oh, what you're thinking? Tell me.
Well, because,
Tell me a little.
I've been this person. I've been this person where it's like, it's not the right time. I would say that the biggest obstacle was always fear.
Mm,
It's like the fear of not succeeding. And instead of trying anyway, you just make up
mhm.
an excuse because you think you're already gonna fail,
Right. And
you
my
know?
and my thing about that is I want to try and look back and say, my gosh, Diana, that was kind of silly, girl, but you tried it.
Right.
Instead of, oh man, I should have, I could have, and I didn't.
What is stillness trying to teach humanity right now?
That we are becoming less human. That we really do need to take a hard look at the type of life that we're living, the type of society that we live, how we are treating each other. When you don't take a pause to see how your actions may impact your neighbor, how your words may impact your child, how your own behavior may be a pattern that is picked up by somebody else that's watching you and you don't even know.
There's a
Yeah,
lot there. Yeah.
is next episode of
All right.
unpacking that one because definitely that is what it's teaching us to pause and really not judge ourselves, but take inventory of who we are. Yeah.
What's one final message you'd like to leave with our listeners?
The one thing, the one idea that you overthink the most, that you place the most fear around, once you do it, is going to be the most liberating one. I tell you 100%.
Yes,
I tell you 100%. That is definitely going to be your ta-da moment. And you're just going to feel all the weight just
I love
wash
that.
off. Hmm.
Truly, that resonates.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like we've all been there. Great advice.
It's been amazing question, sincerely. Mm.
Well, that concludes our very first episode of Real Talk with Gatekeeper Press, and we couldn't have picked a better first guest. So
This
thank
is
you so
sweet.
much for gracing us with your intellect, your presence, your creativity. I think so much inspiration, and watching you and your community is truly a blessing. So thank you for being a part of the Gatekeeper Press family, and then
Absolutely.
also for your selflessness. We gave you a publishing grant, and you're like, it's not about me, it's about my community. And this beautiful anthology was born because of it. So we are rooting for you, and we couldn't be more honored to have helped bring that to life. So thank you for choosing us as your publisher.
Absolutely. Oh, thank you guys. So many words, so many things, but just truly an immense honor to be here with y'all and to continue this wonderful, not just partnership, but this journey of being and expressing, having you guys by my side, and just the opportunity to have this type of conversations really mean a lot to me. So I hope is well received and that somebody out there just gets a little bit of something that they need. So thank you for these wonderful questions too, Luis. Love them.
Thank you. No, you've shared a lot with us today, and I'm sure someone will truly see value in them. So thank you so much.
Thank you.